Okay, hello everyone. This is Anik. You can just call me Nick, and I'll be presenting you guys on AI cybersecurity. Today is July 14th, and I actually made this slideshow presentation with Gamma, which is a AI presentation app. If you guys are interested, you guys can always just go to gamma.com, I'm pretty sure. So let me see. Gamma.com. No, it's Gamma. You just go to gamma.app and you guys can access that there. But with this presentation, let's continue on AI cybersecurity. So, cybersecurity has been around since the 1970s, right? Originally, then there wasn't much to protect online because computers weren't really invented then. But today, it's extremely important, especially with something called Claude Mythos, which came out pretty recently, I think a couple months ago. And Claude Mythos, what it can do is that it can basically find pretty much any software vulnerability, which basically means that it could crack down on any type of, um, you know, um, vulnerabilities or mistakes or any errors or any sort of problems with a website, with someone's password, with anything on the internet in general. So they actually had to ban Claude Mythos. They didn't necessarily ban it, but they restricted it to certain companies and they kept it local inside Claude's headquarters. So the basically the public does not have access to Claude Mythos. But in essence, artificial intelligence has become kind of a catalyst in making cybersecurity way stronger, but also there are certain things that you guys need to be aware of with AI cybersecurity. So let's go to the next slide. So yeah, AI can become, the a weapon, right? It can be evil, specifically with number one, automated phishing. That's basically means that you can have AI like create personalized scam emails. You can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT, and other hackers may use that to send you certain scam emails um, under a professional organization like Bank of America or Chase or any other type of organization in order to disguise themselves and pretend that they are acting as acting as a representative for that organization. So it's pretty hard to actually distinguish between a legitimate message from the actual organization and from the hacker themselves. So that's something you guys should be aware of. Additionally, there is also deep fakes, right? There's people who could mask their voice. They can mask their own like facial structure. They can change all that. So even in like a Zoom meeting or in some other types of meetings or any Zoom calls or video calls in general, people can mask themselves and change their audio and change the way they appear on camera. So then this can also there's also something called social engineering, right? And social engineering is where um, these hackers basically just call you saying like, hey, your bank account was hacked. You guys need to quickly respond. They try to create some sense of urgency, and they basically say, okay, you need to say your password to the bank account, and then if you were to say it, then it'd be pretty hard to get your account back because they would have the access to your account information, assuming you don't have two-step verification. Additionally, there's something called AI powered malware, pretty recent as well, but there are more and more malware that is being AI powered. For example, prompt steal, as you can see at the bottom, prompt steal is a type of AI data mining malware that basically in specific image generators, it can basically try to get your information through that. So you got to be careful if you're using an AI image generator. I think also a video generator, but I'm pretty sure it's specifically two image AI generators. If you were to use some specific corrupt AI image generators, then they could have this malware called prompt steal, which could steal your information and your credit card information and all that. Additionally, there is specific things that you guys should know, right? Number one is the IoT, right? The Internet of Things. In essence, what that means is that, you know, it refers to the connectivity, the interconnectivity between devices, right, in your home or in other applications, right? So maybe like your phone to your headphones if you're using Bluetooth. Maybe if you're connecting your smart fridge to your phone and all that. So there's many devices in your home or in your workspace or wherever that are interconnected through the internet or through Bluetooth or whatever. And so, with all these interconnections in our house, they can create a vulnerability, right? Many hackers, they can just enter through your phone or enter through your computer. And then after that, they have access to pretty much everything else. They can get through other devices pretty easily with their malware or whatever they're using. So you got to be careful with that. Additionally, there is something called digital footprint, right? We all make a digital footprint whenever you're using the internet or using Google Chrome, Firefox, Brave, whatnot. Um, you need to be careful with what information you put out there in, you know, through Instagram, Facebook, social media platforms, even just with websites. If you're to log in through, you know, Google accounts or you know, just any website in general, you have to make sure that the website, first of all, is the correct website that you're intending to go to, right? If you're trying to go to Amazon.com, you wouldn't want to go to Amazon.org, right? Amazon.org is not the official Amazon website. So that's something you to, you know, to take account of, right? It's that you have a digital footprint and you don't know if a hacker might be following your footprints and following your path and might be trying to get some information out of you. Additionally, you know, these attacks happen, you know, cybersecurity attacks, they happen within milliseconds, right? The second a hacker runs a program, a malware program, or whatever they have, it can run really quickly and they can steal many people's accounts, right? They had, I'm pretty sure a long time ago, I don't remember when, but they had a T-Mobile cybersecurity breach, and so the hackers were able to steal, I think, over 100 million people's information, so like emails, phone numbers, address, and some other information um, tied to their T-Mobile account. So that's pretty scary. And so you just need to make sure that you're like whoever you're, um, you know, putting your information to and putting your um, security into, like you're trusting them basically. Whoever you trust, you need to make sure that those people are actually valid and those people are actually like they will actually protect your information, right? So that's something to take into account of. Additionally, there is this you know, this system, right? You basically, this is kind of the mindset you want to have. You basically want to detect things, right? And then you want like detect any vulnerabilities within your system, right? Maybe that could be a faulty password, right? Maybe your password to your Netflix account is, you know, very short. It's, you know, very like, you know, easily hackable. For example, let's say you put your password as like your dog's name 1234, right? That wouldn't really work out because if the hacker knew your dog's name, and it would probably be pretty easy for them to, you know, breach into your account. So that's something that's the first step, is to detect any vulnerabilities or any problems with your system. And then second of all is to make the changes, right? This is the part where you're defending yourself um, from any vulnerabilities, especially any AI threats, right? AI is very prominent in cybersecurity, so especially in the malicious way. So you need to be careful that you need to make sure that your passwords are good, right? Make sure they're long, to make sure that you actually remember them. And then once you have these like systems that are protected, you should be able to defend against most AI threats. And then if there is a vulnerability, you should be able to recover, right? That may be contacting your bank account, sorry, your like Chase. If you use Chase, maybe you can contact them, go in person, talk with them if your Chase account were to be hacked. just talk with one of the representatives in person. That would be number one. If not, you can call over the phone. Make sure you're calling through the official Chase website. Um, and so if you do get struck down by one of these AI threats, or you have a vulnerability in your system, you should always check in with, first of all, identify where the problem is, and then try to um, take action to just get rid of the vulnerability and still have a protected system to ensure other systems, right, the IoT, the Internet of Things, all the other devices on your system are protected. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about ways to protect your passwords and your identity. Number one, we have something called Bitwarden. So I actually have it right here. Now, Bitwarden, you can, here, let me go onto the official page, Bitwarden. So bitward.com is where you want to go. And what this is basically it's like a tool where you can put all your private information onto here. Um, and this Bitwarden is extremely free. It is free and is extremely protective, right? It protects you from all types of viruses. And what it does is that you have a master password. And in this master password, you basically want to keep it in memory, right? You don't want other people to know what your master password is. If you lose your master password, it's kind of like over, because you can't access your account anymore to Bitwarden. So make sure you write down your master password if you're to log in to Bitwarden. So here I already made an account, but it'll tell you to sign in. So if you sign in, you log in with your Gmail account, and then you go into your Gmail, your mail.google.com, and you'll see a sign in, and then eventually you'll put your password. And then so here I already have my master password. I already have it here. So I'm just going to unlock my Bitwarden account. Now, as you can see, I don't really use Bitwarden, but I am going to start using it now because I haven't realized how important it is to use Bitwarden, specifically because there's some things that you can do on the application. Specifically, number one, you can open your vault. So first of all, um, let's say you have a Netflix account, right? And you want to put down the Netflix password and the username and all that. So what you do is you go to, whoopsies, you go back, you go over to login information, and then you can put some information here. This is also for like other things not related to software, which is also interesting. Like if you have any like identification cards, maybe your birth certificate, you can put it here, right? So you can go here. So first of all, I want to log in the new item, and then I can just put like, I don't know, um, for example, my identification card. And then if I have a folder, I could have put it in a folder. Unfortunately, I don't have one. Here I can just put, my number, so whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can put the password. And then if you have an authenticator key, you could put one. If not, you don't need to. If it is a website, you could also put it. Like if you have I don't know, like a digital ID, or you have some specific website that you want to note down. For example, for Netflix, you could put it down here, right? The Netflix link. And then if you have any notes, right? Um, let's say you want to note down like specific information down, like for example, this is the California identification card, and then you can put some more information down if you'd like, and then you can save it right here. And so that's something you could do. You can do that for cards as well. If you have a debit card, a credit card, um, you know gas cards, right? And any type of card would really work. You can put it here. And then what I like about Bitwarden is that it kind of like categorizes everything. So you have the login, right? This is like all your, websites and all that. You can track it down here. And then cards, if you put any cards, it will show here. And then identity, like this is your identification cards, you can put it here. And then if you have a secure note, if you have any specific notes that you want to put down, you can put it here. You can even put your diary here. Like it doesn't, it's up to you. Like the sky's the limit. If you want to put your diary here, you can do that, and then you can trash anything if you need to. But yeah, number one thing, if you're going to create an account, I would like you to, number one, make sure you write it down or just commit to memory the master password for Bitwarden, because if you forget about it, then all this information is lost and you can't access it. It's a very hard process to get back your account on Bitwarden. So this is a very I highly recommend this for you guys to use. And so another thing I want you guys to take into account of is Have I Been Pawned is another website. It's literally called Have I Been Pawned with the pwned.com. And what you can do is you can just put your email address here and see if your information is out there. So if you've been in a data breach, you can always check. So for me, I've not, so that's pretty good. But if you want to, you can always put your information here, specifically your Gmail account, and if there's any vulnerabilities or some data breach that occurred, you can always check what the problem is and then tackle that down. And then number three, this is very important, multi-factor authentication, right? Let's say you're a hacker were to somehow get access to your password into your account. If you have a multi-factor authentication, right, this is two-step verification, right? Maybe you have after the hacker logs into your account, maybe they need a 6-digit code from your phone, which they don't have your phone, right? You have your phone, so thankfully you won't they won't have access to your account, and you can also recognize that okay, someone's trying to access my account because it shows there's a 6-digit code that has been sent to you, and you didn't try to log into your Chase account or Bank of America account, so that doesn't make sense. So something is fishy is going on, so that may indicate that you might want to change your password or try to kick out the hacker in some way. And so if you want, you guys can go to for your Google account, go to myaccount.google.com. So this is my account, and what you can do is you can go to security and sign in. And then as you can see right here, there's something called two-step verification. You can just click on that and you can, put a two-step verification with your phone or with another device to make sure that your Google account isn't hacked through. And even if they know the password, you still have the phone or the other device to log in through. And then let's continue. So I do recommend some, using browsers like Brave or Firefox. You can just go to you can go to your browser, like if you're using Google Chrome, and then you can look up Firefox download, and you can just use that. I highly recommend Firefox or Brave because they're really good with tracking. Like they can protect against tracking, and they can even block certain ads and even allow you to have a fingerprint for certain websites and all that. So that's really handy. And then you also have auto updates. I'd recommend this for your phone if you're using, an iPhone or an Android. I recommend having the auto update feature on. You can see right here on this screenshot from online that I found. If you just go to general and then you would find software update, you can turn on automatic updates. You want this on, because then it's basically ensuring that your Apple software, your software on your Apple iPhone or your Android is up to date, right? It's not falling behind. It's not obsolete. It's not under some a worse software or a worse software in general. So you want to be up to date to the latest features and to the latest security. Now, this is a mindset that I would like you guys to build, right? Number one is to really have a suspicious eye for anything that looks fishy, right? If you get a call, if you get a text, if you get an in-person confirmation, and you didn't even try to do that, right? Maybe you're trying to schedule. Let's say you're not trying to schedule an appointment for a dentist appointment, and then somehow they give you a call saying, "Oh, here's your confirmation for a dentist appointment," or and maybe they give you a call, maybe they give you a text, or maybe they give you some in-person confirmation. That seems a little weird, right? Because you never created a dentist appointment. You never called them to make a dentist appointment or use a website. So maybe someone out there has access to your account and was able to make a dentist appointment for you, or that's a very basic level, but there's other serious cases like with the bank account or with the credit card account, which can be way more serious, and you'd want to ensure that that stuff is taken care of immediately by talking with your bank, going in person and talking with them. So that's number one. Number two is to recognize social engineering. Like I mentioned earlier, if someone were to like call you acting pretending to be the bank, right? Number one, the bank or any pretty much any services, any like government services too, they won't call you, they won't text you. Mainly they would I think email you, but you have to check on their website, official website, to see how they would reach to you, like contact you. Maybe that's through physical mail or through emails or maybe even through text messages. So you would have to check the official website and see like, okay, maybe you got a parking fee ticket, that someone called you and said, oh, you have a parking fee ticket, you must, take care of it. Many of the times, most of the times, it's not a actual it's not the actual like parking company, it's not the government or the parking facilitating company that's actually giving issuing the ticket. It's probably a hacker or someone who's trying to hack you. So number three, this is the number one thing I wanted you guys to take account of, which is avoid reusing passwords. Right, just because you use one password for something, for your Netflix account, doesn't mean you use the same password for your Google account or for your from a different account. Right, you should always change it up. And I know it's kind of hard to memorize all the passwords, so you know number one resource, Bitwarden, to write it down. So yeah, I think you guys should future-proof your digital life, right? Number one, there's something called cybersecurity awareness training. Now, if you were to look that up, right here, I have this website called Tech Target, which is a little quiz I want you guys to use, or you guys should do. First of all, is it has 15 questions. It has pretty much all the questions related to cybersecurity. It gives you a situation, and you just have to answer the best as you can, right? So you just keep answering, and then at the end you can submit the quiz, and then you can look at what you got wrong and how you can improve, right? So there's certain things you can learn from this, right? Like you can learn what's the best approach if this were to happen to me, right? You don't know if someone's gonna hack your account, or if you're gonna get if you're gonna be part of a social engineering scheme, right? There are many situations that could have happened in your life. So I recommend you guys to use this, right? This is techtarget.com. Go to the cybersecurity awareness quiz, and yeah, so I'd recommend you guys doing that and see how you guys do. Number two, right, is having a zero trust habit, especially with online things, right? If something were to happen with your device, right, you should take immediate action, right? Especially if that's not you who's doing the two-step verification, or someone logs into your device. You should be aware of that and take immediate action. Maybe calling Google accounts, especially calling Google, or calling your bank, or calling whoever. And then number three, we have supporting nonprofits like STEM Harvest. They help teach digital literacy and basically strengthen collective defense. So that's something you guys should take account of, and maybe even try registering yourself. And then here's like a little pyramid that AI Gamma made. At the bottom, we have community contributions, right? This is like if you have very basic understanding of digital literacy and like a little bit of cybersecurity. Number two, this is the zero trust habits, right? This is like the getting closer and closer to having a secure digital life. Zero trust habits are important. Like I said, you should, if someone were to authenticate if someone were to log into your account, you should automatically, just take action. And then you should always two-step authenticate your every login every time. And number three is at the very top, is through having AI cybersecurity tools, using Bitwarden, using Have I Been Pawned, using all these tools that are free online to help secure yourself when you're on the internet, or just even in person. It could come down to that. So now here's the call to action, right? To becoming a digital ninja. Number one is, of course, enabling two-step verification. factor authentication on your email or through your banking login. Number two, download Bitwarden. This is number one. This is gonna save you time, and it'll make you feel protected online, and it will make you protected online. It won't only be a sensation, but it will also ensure that you are protected online, whether you're using Chrome, whether you're using Firefox, or whatever, right? And then number three is to, of course, stay vigilant, um, right? Just staying one step ahead. Stay skeptical. Make sure you're looking for any vulnerabilities in your system. Make sure all your systems are updated, fully updated to the max, whether that's your iPhone, your Android, or even your MacBook, whatever your computers, all that. And just, outpace the algorithm, right? I like how AI said that, right? Just being one step ahead of, these AI threats and AI vulnerabilities and malware that are trying to attack you constantly on the internet. So thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.